Yo, this is KD,
And this is David.
and we are the K&D Exchange, where we exchange music, and as a result, we exchange ideas, bridging the gap between old and new, with all original music produced by. Enjoy. Yo, welcome back to another episode of the K&D Exchange. I am joined by my co-host, David. David, what's up?
Yo, KD. Feels like a long time since we've done this.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Actually, it's only been a week, but it feels it feels like a long time. But yeah, so we took a week off to a little work on our rebrand, do some behind the scenes shit, and but we're back to our regular kind of program. Yeah, this started off a little bit stilted because when we record the Zoom calls, it usually just comes up with a little sign in the top right or top left saying recording. This time we had a voice come up and saying, "You are being recorded," and it kind of threw us off. Hence why I kind of felt a bit off my flow there. But yeah, that's never happened before, I swear.
It's never happened.
Nah. Anyways, regardless, I've almost forgotten how we do these intros. Are we're all good, right? We've said everything we need to say?
Yeah, we're cool. So thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next week.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. You get after a week.
Yeah, man. You've got your usual spiel. This is how we do.
Spiel. This is how we do.
You know, the candy.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so if you're a new, just hearing that voice coming in saying "you are being recorded" was one of the most jarring things that I've kind of heard.
For real.
Yeah, and it kind of, But anyways, all right. So if you're new to the podcast, what we do is we exchange albums to each other. So every week we swap who gives the exchange. So this week David has given me an album to listen to, and then I will talk about it. At the end of this episode, I will give David an album to listen to, and that will be next week's episode. And the whole point is that we kind of bridge the gap between our tastes, between background, between kind of, just in terms of music. So, if I give David an album, it's usually an album I'm very familiar with. Not necessarily one that's like close to my heart or that I'm really, really into, but one that I find that I really want to discuss. And I probably know, the exchanges I choose are albums that I do know quite well. And then David will be listening to it fresh. That's the perspective we're trying to bridge here. And then vice versa, back and forth. So today we are on exchange number 16?
Already, yes.
Exchange number 16. And this week, David, what album did you give me to listen to?
Gave you Talib Kweli's and Diamond D's album. It's called Gotham.
Yeah, I didn't realize them two as a group as well called Gotham, apparently. I just saw that when I went on Spotify. But also, Diamond D, is he a rapper as well? I swear he is.
I thought he produced this album.
He did produce this album, but I feel like when I went in, I was expecting like two rappers, but he just.
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
I know what you mean. Maybe
I'm
Once Upon a Time.
Yeah, maybe it's just for this one in particular. But yeah, I expected to go in kind of hearing like two MCs. Didn't realize that Diamond D just produced the whole thing. But yeah, so Talib Kweli, don't think we need, in terms of background, I'm really trying not to put him in this box of, everyone always puts him in this box of the conscious rapper. He's like the face of being one of the faces of conscious rap, social commentary shit and, deep lyrics, blah, yada, yada, which I think does a disservice to him because he can do so much more. And I think that, especially in the climate now, people will hear, oh, so-and-so's a conscious rapper, and they will equate that with, oh, maybe his music's going to be quite boring, or it's going to be preachy, or it's going to be this, and that. Although he's not just that. I like Talib Kweli quite a lot, and I haven't heard everything of his, I don't think, but I have heard quite a few of his stuff. Who was the? He had this producer called High Tech, and they had a group together, Reflection Eternal. Yeah, I remember that, and his project with Mos Def, the Black Star album. That's one of my favorite albums ever. Them two are a great pairing, which I wouldn't have necessarily put together.
You're absolutely right. Yeah.
Yeah. I just, on paper, like, let's say, I mean, now because they have the album, it's like, yeah, of course, they work really well. But I wonder how, at the time or before that, I wonder how people were perceiving that. If that would have been like a good pairing. But for this album, I was really looking forward to going into this. I like the album title. I like the cover and everything like that. And obviously I know Talib Kweli. This was a good album. But I'm struggling to call it a great album.
This is why we do this show. Yeah, I've been wrestling with a couple of...
Oh, okay, I couldn't tell from your facial expression.
I've been wrestling with it.
Okay.
I wanted to give it to you because, like, friend of the show, Chris,
yep,
he mentioned it to me, and then I listened to it, and I was like, cool. I wonder what KD will think of this. So, right, I mean, this was only released, maybe a couple of months ago?
Yeah, I think so.
You know, it's fresh, it's new, but anyway, as we usually do, returning listeners, we will usually go track by track and discuss everything that sort of goes on there. But KD, track number 1, Sons of Gotham, what did you think?
I thought that was a great opening track. I thought that was really good. That really pulled me in. I really like the Kanye West line as well, he said about, well, Kanye made Jesus Walks, you're not ready for that conversation. And, Kanye's, there's a lot to be said about Kanye and how people have kind of viewed him and seen him over time. And some people say that he's where's the old Kanye? But some people will say, well, he's always been that Kanye. It's just that now he's saying things that don't align with how what you believe or whatever, right? And, you're forgetting this is the guy that made Jesus Walks. He's not only just found God now and making that kind of music. This guy made Jesus Walks and tried to push for it to be on radio back in 2004 or 5, whenever College Dropout came out. I thought that was great. And I think Talib Kweli and Kanye have like a good relationship with each other as well. They're from that kind of same camp. I like the line, on second thought, you ain't nothing but a succubus. I'd say your name if anyone knew who the fuck you was. I was like, yes, sick. And that whole kind of section afterwards. And then when he's like, you lot are fake as Jonah Hill and This Is the End. Have you seen that film?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. Because, Jonah, it's so funny that they're playing themselves. And Jonah Hill's like the fakest guy there. Like, he's just too nice. He's just way too nice. Especially to the guy that's like the main guy. What's his name? I can't remember his name.
Is it James Franco?
No. The main, he goes to visit Seth Rogen. And then they go to James Franco's house. He's like the skinny guy.
I know who you mean. Yeah. I always forget his name.
I always forget his name too.
Yeah.
He's in a lot of these kind of films. And the fact that he's always like, I don't get a good vibe from Jonah. I don't think he likes me. I don't like him really. They're like, what? Jonah's the sweetest guy ever. And then he comes in, he's always sticking up for him. Jonah's always sticking up for this guy, even though he blatantly hates him. But I just thought that was funny. I didn't know that. I know Talib Kweli, he goes on Twitter and really voices his opinion. He's not really one to shy away from that kind of thing. But I didn't know he got banned from Twitter at one point.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah. Which is just a whole other wormhole to kind of open up, isn't it?
I literally found that out, I think either yesterday or today,
that
he got banned. I didn't realise at all. So.
Yeah. Because I know that he goes, I know that he does voice his opinion a lot, and he's not really, he doesn't shy away from it, his thoughts about things. And he got banned for it. I can't remember. I remember seeing some of the stuff he used to say, but,
meh. It's meh.
Why is it such a, Yeah, I don't think he's ever said anything super insightful, like inciting hatred or anything like that. I mean,
Yeah,
unless I've missed it. I don't know.
we can have. Do you know what? Let me have a gander.
Yeah, I'll keep talking. You have a little look.
Yeah, man.
Um, so then the next song. What's the next song? Olympic.
Olympic, yeah.
That's a good song. I really like this one too. The beat is really nice as well. I like the lyric. That rep of the ugliest parts of America, the argument meritless, being a martyr is perilous, but when you play an oppression Olympics, tell me who the gold medal is. I was like, right, okay. I mean, that's even just nice kind of rhyme schemes breaking down too. What have you found?
So yeah, this like neurons are firing off in my brains, bro. Okay, so the US rapper has been barred from Twitter after sending dozens of messages to a woman, Maya Moody, on the platform.
Oh shit, it was because of that.
Yeah.
Weird,
So
man. Why are you switching
Twitter Twitter told a website called Jezebel, well, that doesn't sound very trustworthy, but anyway, that it had permanently suspended Talib Kweli's account for repeated violations of Twitter rules, violence, harassment, and other similar types of behavior. Wow.
Wow. So it's not for his political tweets and all that sort of stuff.
No, he's being a dirty dog.
He's been creeping. Shit. So just listen to this album. You would think it was they're trying to suppress my thoughts. Maybe that's what he thinks is happening. Maybe
he was genuinely trying to move to somebody who misconstrued. Because like also, you know, somebody. Well, I suppose it's dozens of messages, so it could be.
Yeah.
It's. Do you know what? Like after 5, maybe. Do you know what? I'm so removed from the game. I don't know. Like maybe after. Maybe after I don't know 3 messages. Maybe if you're not getting a warm feeling, just let it go.
Yeah, I agree. Dozens is and you're not getting anything back.
Because when like a dozen is bad enough, right? But dozens. Is it 24? Is it 36? 48? Like 60? I mean, we don't know. Like,
Carly, what have you been doing? Come on, man.
And he seems like such a good dude. Like, he's on his podcast. The People Party. He seems like such a dude. Like, what is he doing?
But they all do, don't they?
I know. How well do you really know someone?
Exactly. And if you want to hear more of our thoughts on that, then go back to our POD review and also our Drake Views review, where we jump into these in depth. Some of our best conversations I think we've had. Some of our most important conversations I think too, especially in this kind of era of. I mean, there's always been celebrity and idol worship, but I think we break it down to a more human level of giving certain people passes and other people not, and not really truly knowing people. So in this case with Kweli, like. He's like this conscious guy. He's very outspoken, and you just feel like you get good energy, good vibes from him. And then I mean, it shouldn't feel too much of a shock that he might do something like this. Like everyone, no one's perfect. Everyone. There is a chance that the nicest guy you've met has some really bad issues or some really in certain areas.
I fully understand that.
Yeah, but it's hard when it's your favorite art, not your favorite, like an artist or someone who's only giving you a certain thing. Then it becomes, you don't realize it afterwards. You're like, well, yeah, they're just human beings too. Of course that they
exactly
be a bit of a creep actually. Their music might be sick, but that's removed from the fact that actually in their private life they might actually be like someone I wouldn't necessarily want to hang with. But you don't know that because you're just listening to their music. They're not going to, yeah, man, I love creeping on with, well, some of them do, which is even weirder. But,
Kelly.
Anyways, yeah. But he would do that too. He would make the bit. I heard my partner put on Alexa and just had these songs playing over the weekend. And I think it was I Believe I Can Fly came on. And I heard it from the other room and I was like, oh man, this is such a beautiful song. Why did it have to be you that made it? I was sitting in the other room and I kind of needed that kind of song. Like it really did actually uplift me. And then until it got to the chorus, I realized what song it was because I haven't heard it in such a long time. As soon as he said that I believe I can fly part, I was like, oh, fuck. I was like, it's this song. Oh, no.
Isn't it a really dark thing that he, being who he is, believed that he could fly under the radar and do what he did?
Yeah, you start to see it in different ways because you're like, he can just do...
For real.
He can do whatever he wants.
Like when he was there singing, I'm the mountain in the sky, I'm whatever, way up high. Hey, I made it. I'm the world's greatest. He just forgot a word. Yeah. Pedo.
Oh my God.
He's
Kells, man. Kells.
Anyways.
All right. So let's just run off this whole review.
Do you know what? Yeah, let's talk about. But something weird has happened to your mic. I can hear the room now.
You can hear the room.
Yeah, it's not as usually clear as it is.
Okay. I reckon we just. It's weird. It sounds fine to me.
Okay, don't worry.
Now, I can hear a little bit of the. I don't know. I don't know if it's Zoom or what. Like,
fuck it. Listen.
Fuck it.
This is staying in.
Yeah. I know. That's what happens. There's very minimal editing that happens with this podcast.
Absolutely.
So it's just staying in.
Basically, raw, uncut, uncircumcised. And it just, we just do what we do.
We just do what we do.
But anyway, yeah, like getting off the subject of pedos and R. Kelly and
Kweli
and Talib. Yeah, that's really disappointing though, because he is somebody who you would think that as conscientious as he's sort of projected to us as the consumer, you would expect him to at least have a bit of awareness that his behavior impacts other people. When later on in this album, he's talking about, police brutality and things like that. I'm just like, well, hang on a minute. Like, you can't have it on sort of like both ways. You know what I mean? Like, yes, we understand that George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, etc., etc. It's terrible. And there are so many instances of, Trayvon Martin, etc.
Exactly, yeah.
So many instances of where people do not understand that their actions are heinous. How can you be talking about that yet you're quite happily creeping on a lady's right to choose?
Right. Yeah, it's like and harassing someone. Like,
yeah, I'm not saying that both are mutually exclusive. Like, what you're doing is as bad as police brutality. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that just knowing that your actions have an effect on people, maybe positive, maybe adverse. Like, dude, like she probably told him, leave me alone. I don't want to do this. And he carried on. Not dozen messages, dozens.
Dozens, yeah. That's the worst part.
Lot of mercy. But anyway,
right? I'm going to have to read into that. I'm going to have to read into that a bit more and kind of figure out what the context is. But yeah, not the context, what the whole story is. But yeah, Kweli, stop doing this shit, man. But yeah, anyways, Olympic. So what that lyric I said, that at the end of it, Kweli, that guy, he's a good rapper. He can write. He can write bars, and he's got this flow that kind of is very, very nimble, right? So when he says like that rep of the ugliest parts of America, their argument meritless, being a martyr is perilous, but when you play in oppression Olympics, tell me who the gold medal is. It's like,
awesome.
Wow, sick. Sounds so good, but also it's like he was saying a lot just in those kind of 2 or 3 lines, and this was a really good song. Olympic, Sons of Gotham, both of those really good ways of starting it. I think at the quiet one is when I was not feeling, that was the first song I wasn't feeling as much. And Busta Rhymes was a nice addition to the song.
I mean,
as usual.
That voice, he just sounds unreal.
Yeah, he sounds so, I mean, yeah. Busta, these guys have been in the game for so long. And what's great is seeing they are the epitome of seeing the genre evolve and become more mature and grow up as well. Because, people will say hip hop is like a young man's game. At the same time, we have people who are in their 40s and still being active and still being respected, even by younger hip hop fans, which is great,
It's fantastic, yeah.
Absolutely, man. And Busta Rhymes is definitely one of those guys. I mean, his album he dropped last year was fucking incredible. I loved his album last year.
Extinction Level Event 2.
Yeah, I didn't expect to. I thought it might just be another kind of, okay, Busta Rhymes dropped an album. Probably be some good tunes on there. But it's like, nah, the whole thing. Minus a couple of songs because it's such a heavy one, right?
Yeah.
But it's like I could just play it. Even the songs I didn't like as much, I just kind of could let them play.
Mm-hmm.
And there was no songs I hated or would just whack. But yeah, he was a nice addition to this. Wasn't really feeling the beat. What did you think of the bass though on it?
To be honest, one of my problems with this album is that the music largely didn't move me.
Yeah.
And I was talking about this with myself. I was like mulling it over in my head. I was like, you love Talib Kweli. Why don't you love this album?
Yeah.
And I think what what I've come to realize is, right, so it's a criticism that I didn't level at Griselda when we did their album, WWCD.
Yeah.
But something that I didn't sort of lean into was the music, because the music it didn't blow, anyone away. It was kind of just basic, whatever. But the thing is, the amazing thing about that album is that the three rappers dovetailing over each beat is just so enticing and encapsulating. It's just brilliant to listen to.
That in turn made the beats kind of perfect for them, right?
Absolutely. It just added to this. It doesn't matter what beat that those guys rap over, just as long as they're together. I think that they could rap over anything. And so I used to think that about Talib Kweli. I used to think, give him any beat and he can do it. But when I listen to this album, I'm like, I don't know. I don't have, he's a really good wordsmith, and you're right, he knits things together really well, and he's very, very nimble. But there's something that I can't really put my finger on. I don't know if he's lost I don't know if it's his actual voice. He seems like he's 92% there, but there's a little bit that's just gone, and it's from his earlier albums. There was definitely I don't know if it's a fire or a zeal or a rage. There used to be a real sort of a raise. Yeah. And now, I know he gets, people get older and your voice does change. If depending on your lifestyle, it can get stronger or weaker, whatever. But I just found that, I'm listening to Talib Kweli's penmanship, cool, but the voice isn't quite there. And so it doesn't make the music pop out for me anymore. Do you know what I mean?
I 100% agree with you, because that's how I felt listening to this. The concept, the social commentary, everything like that, all of it on point. It's just that some of the execution wasn't there for me. It's cohesive because it's produced by the same guy, but it wasn't solid enough that it would capture my attention throughout. And I think this is something that Kweli's always had to deal with, and a lot of conscious rappers like Raskas and people like that have had to deal with, is that, and I've heard people say that, back in the day, sometimes if the beats weren't amazing, it didn't matter if the rapper was amazing or what they were talking about. Whereas now there's definitely more of a focus on the music behind the rhymes, I think. And maybe I think that might just be the way hip hop is evolving, because it's becoming a bit more musically varied and has taken in more influences and has become something else. And there's all these other subcultures and subgenres within it, that the musicality has become such that there is a bigger focus on that, not just bars, and just a beat underneath, which maybe it was in its infancy stage, because it was more closer to what it was like on the street or at the block party.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that's always been a thing for conscious rappers, is that yeah, they can rap, and yeah, what they're saying is really good. That beat though, the beats, they never pick good beats. But sometimes that's not always the case. Like Lupe, for example, great example of a conscious rapper who has, I think, a really good ear for production. His music sounds solid to me. Kendrick as well.
Yeah,
great example.
I was going to say, I listened to The Cool the other day.
Yeah,
that there's a couple of tunes on there that still sound unbelievably fresh.
mm-hmm.
Like
Streets on Fire, Intruder Alert.
Oh my god! All right, stop reading my mind. Like, I'm sick of you, bro. Honestly, I was about to say, yeah, Streets on Fire. That song is incredible and still super relevant.
Yeah, and Little Weapon as well. I love that song.
Oh, it's got one of the best choruses.
Mm-hmm.
Genuinely, it's one of my favorite choruses in hip hop ever.
Yeah,
it's
I'd agree with you.
Massive song. Oh my goodness.
Harry got a gun. They got from the sick. It's so good.
Yeah.
So that whole album is so good. Paris, Tokyo. That used to be my jam back in the day. It was so chill.
Man. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so good.
There was. I was going to say Kick Push, but that was Food and Liquor.
Food and Liquor. Yeah, that album blew my mind when I first heard
that. Album was it was like listening to the sun. It was beautiful. It was amazing. I absolutely love that album. And the second one was darker, had a great through line of production through it, right?
And a great theme.
Yeah, absolutely. But that, bringing it back to Gotham though, there's one thing that I will say about this album. The musical tone throughout, it's on point. Like if this is your kind of thing, then you're going to love this album.
Yeah, but front to back.
Absolutely. There is a consistent theme. And also, how, we've spoken about the suggestion of the album cover. The music really keeps in tone with that album cover, right? So, it's...
What's interesting as well about the music is that coming from a standpoint of making music, back in the day, when I used to make beats a bit more frequently than I do now, there were sounds that I used to have, like drum sounds or whatever, and I recognized them on this album. And I think sometimes that's just like that's something that ends up putting me off sometimes, because it will be like, oh man, like I know, like I've used those drum sounds in the past. I have like a hard drive with those on there, and then so then I hear someone else use it, it's almost like I can see the music session, and then it becomes less of like, I don't know how to describe it. It becomes like the beat sounds less solid to me, because I can almost imagine like going through and making it. So I can almost imagine like all the different pieces of it. I don't know if that makes sense, but
totally.
Yeah, it's like if you have like a drum pack and you have all these sounds in it, and then you hear in another song those same sounds. It's like in Logic, which I use, they have some loops in there that are already just pre-installed in there, and I think a lot of producers wouldn't want to use those because they'll be like, oh no, I want to make my own. I don't want to use like what Logic has given me. But then there's a song by A$AP Rocky with Skepta called Praise the Lord, and someone on TikTok showed that main kind of loop that everyone loves, the flute sound or whatever, is like a stock Logic loop that came with it or something like that apparently. And obviously if everyone else is thinking, nah man, I don't want to use any of these loops, I'm going to make my own shit, then no one's going to use those loops, and then those loops are going to become kind of unique and no one's going to recognize them. And apparently that guy used it. I was like, fuck, no wonder I didn't like the song. No, I'm joking, but yeah.
Flipping snob.
Yeah. No, but yeah, that was on Attention Span or on the Quiet One. I can't remember, but those drum sounds, I was like, I've heard those before. And it kind of made the beat sound a little bit weak, in my opinion. On Mamas, I like the beat, and there was a sound that comes in from left to right in the second verse, which really freaked me out because I thought something was going wrong in my headphones.
Yes.
It's so slow.
Yeah.
Going in, so subtle. And I'm like, what the fuck is that? I'm taking my headphones off to kind of hear, what is that sound? And then I had to rewind it back just to check that nothing had gone nothing actually had gone wrong.
For real. Yeah. That pan from right to, no, it's left to right.
Left to right, yeah.
It just, I was
I
like,
don't even know why it was there.
I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I don't get it. Like, has he referenced something here? Like,
I couldn't figure out why it was there.
Yeah, neither. Hopefully, like, maybe it's a mistake. I don't know.
That'd be funny if it was. That would be interesting if it was a mistake.
Because in all fairness, releasing albums with mistakes in, I've got no problem with that. Because in fact, I like it. Mistakes
I like it too.
Mistake makes the music, especially like, you know, when you listen to like bands and stuff.
Mm.
They're gonna mess up live. It's like how they recover. Like that's the magic.
Because it goes with the groove of it, right? It kind of adds the authenticity of it. You don't want everything perfectly quantized and stuff, you know.
Yeah, and this is why I listen to a lot of like demo tapes from bands, like like a lot of underground bands release like demos of songs that you hear on the album. You're like, wow, that sounds amazing. But when you hear like the raw nuts and bolts of it, and you're like, yeah, cool. Like I like that. And you hear them make mistakes, and it's not perfect, and it's like, you know, that's what it's all about. So yeah, it was. I didn't understand what it was referencing. I don't know why it's in there.
Same. I'm not sure about that either.
Yeah, man. The note that I put, because I wrote like about this album, I was like, I've got so many thoughts about it, but I don't know how to sort of articulate it. But I just put this song. It's okay.
Yeah, it's okay. It's literally okay.
Yeah,
the beat is cool, and that's it. There's one line that I really liked, which I felt was interesting when he says, listening to Mac Miller's Self-Care, but still can't keep my mind off of my people's welfare. And I think that's kind of interesting. It's like an interesting like duality of struggling both inwards and outwardly. So like that Mac Miller album, that was part of his journey into like some very deep introspective music making. So from Self-Care, that was on the album Swimming. And then he had an album called, I think he died after that. I think he put out Swimming, then he passed away. And then Circles came out. And he's doing more singing stuff on Swimming. It's kind of, you can hear the transition from Swimming into Circles. And then I think there were going to be more albums after Circles where he's mainly singing and being very deep and introspective. And it was just kind of his next kind of step of his evolution, where he's very kind of, it went from the college rap to kind of making bangers and summer songs and vibey songs to then very deep introspective kind of stuff. And it's like, that was just an interesting lyric for me, because it's like Kweli is listening to that a song like Self-Care by Mac Miller at that time, you know, and then in retrospect, Mac Miller's died at this point. But at the same time, it's probably making Kweli wonder about himself and think about his own personal struggles and just as a lone individual human being. But then at the same time, being part of a group of people who are marginalized and whose kind of welfare gets impacted, it also impacts on him as the individual too. So it's like, you know, he still has his sights on his community, which is more of a communal kind of issue as opposed to a personal one. But at the same time, there's still like the personal individual issues that he has. And that lyric kind of made me think about that. Like I'm listening to Mac Miller's Self-Care. So, you know, going into that kind of deep introspection of you as an individual. At the same time, I can't keep my mind off the fact that all of my people are struggling too. So us as a people, a whole people are struggling. And it's like, which one do I focus on? Almost, you know, I have my own personal struggle, and then I have the communal struggle. It is hailing like crazy outside.
Yeah, I just heard that.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like moved from yours. I can't really hear it in yours anymore.
No, it's clear now.
It's literally chucking it like, yeah, I could hear it through the headphones and I could see it through the window.
We're halfway through May, bro. Like, what's going on?
Yeah. I'm hoping we get some massive heat wave during June and July or whenever to make up for it.
Listen, Sky Zoo drops his album June the 11th. It's my birthday. So
June 11th.
Yeah, boy, it better be.
Speaking of Sky Zoo.
Yeah.
he is on attention span, right?
Yeah, man. That's why I brought it up.
Sick. Okay, I didn't know if that was pure coincidence or not. Okay.
No, mate. Long game. Come on
You knew
now.
what you're doing. Okay, all right. This song is where it picks back up for me. Not
Agreed.
just because of Sky Zoo, but just in general. There's a really interesting, again, Kweli comes out with these interesting kind of little quotable lines. When you face immortality, you make space for the morality you erased to get paid a salary. Your soul is the one thing you should never sell because you can't buy an air conditioner in hell. And it's like, oh, okay.
Wow. He's talking to the, esoteric nature of the hip hop game. Boy, oh boy, I got time for that.
Yeah. But I mean, it took me a while to break that down. So this idea of when you face immortality, that actually, this idea that if you see yourself as being more than just a finite human being and more of there's something more beyond your kind of mortal life, then suddenly you start to actually make space for the things that you kind of gave up for the name of money and material wealth, because this stuff doesn't translate over. And this is coming from a very strictly, that these last two lines are probably much more of a kind of from a religious viewpoint, but it still carries over. The soul is one thing you should never sell. You can't buy an air conditioner in hell, regardless of there being a heaven or hell or not. If you, let's say, cross over to the other side, if there is one, regardless, you will have to most likely, even to yourself, account for these things, because you'd realize, shit, I am more than just my material kind of world or whatever, right? I'm more than that. And I gave up kind of my true essence for something I can't even bring with me here. Regardless of whether it's a Judgment Day style routine or it's just you in the void, just kind of thinking to yourself before you move on or whatever. I don't know what it is. It's something that, I guess, what's good about lyrics like this and putting it in that way is that it takes you to the extreme. So it takes you out of just your regular human worldview into, imagine you die and you move beyond that, right? So actually you're now just pure kind of soul or thought or whatever it is. And you realize that all the material things that you kind of sold yourself for, they just stay behind. You don't take it with you. You can't even touch it. Who are you now? You literally gave up on what you truly are in your essence for all that stuff. And it's something that we shouldn't wait for till the end of our lives to realize, regardless of whether you believe in it moving on or not. It's something you should take note of now, that, these material things are fleeting and will not give you the true happiness you really think. Whereas, when you face immortality, you make space for the morality you erase to get paid a salary. Like, that money will go, but the way you impact other people and the way your actions, which cause a chain reaction of other, consequences and whatever else, those will live with other people. Those will live with you forever. And you will have to get through that. Your mind is such a complex machine. Your subconscious will pick up all of it. And regardless if your conscious mind doesn't, just thinks, money, this, need a bigger house, need a bigger this, don't care who I step over to get it. Your subconscious mind is probably picking up on all of it and thinking, I'm not actually happy with this. And at some point it's going to hit, if you don't deal with it, it's going to hit you. And so your soul is one thing you should never sell. You should never sell yourself for these things which will go away. You should not ground yourself to finite things in the world, such as money, which in itself is a weird concept to begin with. It's a piece of paper that represents gold somewhere else I don't even know where.
It's not even paper anymore. Money doesn't exist.
Exactly. And if we move to, which I hope not, to like a cashless society or whatever, then what even is it? It's just points on a computer.
That's where it's going, man. Yeah. That's where it's going.
So you shouldn't put your faith in these things. You shouldn't put and this is again, when we have this conversation, that people who need money in order to survive, because that's just the system we live in. We're not talking about that. We're talking about people who will step over other people and go purely revolve their lives around material possession. So you see celebrities do it all the time. They don't care about selling the rights of another, of someone else's intellectual design or whatever, in order for them to make loads of money. Music managers who just don't pay the checks and keep it all for themselves. Someone like Birdman, who doesn't pay his artists on the label because then he can keep all that shit for himself. The way you've affected these people that you've stepped on is going to live with them for a long time. And then it's going to live with you, whether you like it or not. But that money can be spent and gone. Something could happen to you. It all goes away. A literal tornado could come, fuck up your house. It doesn't care. Nature does not care that you built this beautiful mansion out in the middle of nowhere for you and a swimming pool for you to enjoy. If there's an earthquake or if there's if something happens, it will come and fuck up your house, right? It doesn't care, right? Nature and the world, the universe does not care about your money or your material possessions. Do not sell your soul for this shit, right? As hard as it may be, I think, that's a really important thing that people need to kind of, take away from, especially from something like this. This is what I do really appreciate about Kweli, is that he will say this stuff very blatantly, but he'll say it in such a poetic way as well that it's not preachy. It's more forces you to break it down. And when it forces you to break it down and to really think about it, that's when you understand it more deeply compared to someone just preaching it at you, because that can go over your head.
Spot on.
Yeah.
I've just been nodding like some proper agreeable court jester. Yeah, man.
100%.
Talk to the people, man. But this is
preach.
Well, yeah, this is why I sort of love Talib Kweli, man. Because this is something that he's always done, and I like the way that he's got this really sort of easy way that it feels like he's always talking to you, especially.
Yeah.
I do like the way that he says the money is your money is the size of your attention span, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
you know what? Because that kind of speaks to me in the sense of how I've lived my life, paycheck to paycheck, but never really playing to my strengths at all as a person. What am I good at? What do I love? How do I actually make a sort of living doing the things that I love? Because it is possible, right?
For sure.
In the Caribbean, and this is something my mum said. She said, people have their regular jobs, then they've got one or two side hustles to just bring in some extra cash or whatever, and it makes them feel good. It's stuff that people are enterprising, and it's we're in this system, Western civilization, and it doesn't really encourage people to really play to your strengths. It's you're sort of if you don't pay attention, you're just going to be locked in a box, in a job that you absolutely detest. And it's something that you and I can speak to. That's how we met. I guess we weren't playing to our strengths fully then,
for sure.
But now we are, and it's
it feels so much better now, right? And I feel so much more motivated to try and actually get somewhere with this. Whereas back where we were before, it's kind of had to act this is my strength. I want to do this, and I want to become the best at this, and I was thinking about this the other day, how I was saying, I want to manage a team at some point and have all these projects and stuff. I don't give a fuck. I didn't give a fuck about that. At least there I did, because it was just and you're right. You don't end up playing to your strengths there. You end up kind of being this fake version of yourself, because you have to be.
Absolutely.
You need to get paid. So then you need to go in and who there is really sitting there my passion is to become a marketing manager. Come on, man. Really?
Yeah, in all fairness, man, it's
I mean, there maybe people are, but I mean,
genuinely. Yeah, genuinely, there are people that would love nothing more, and that is cool because that's playing to your strengths. Then, if that's what you love doing and you like, you know what I mean, you like marketing, you want to be a marketing manager, you feel like that's your your gift and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Well, then
go for it. Yeah.
Absolutely. There is.
Do not be discouraged by this.
No. But that's the thing. Like, I think that the way that we're talking is very much the opposite. I think that we are encouraging people to actually just take a look at what you're good at and what you love. And if you realize that you're not doing it on a daily, I'm not saying that, you can magically, turn your life around and say, oh, well, say to the wife and the bank who you own the mortgage to, like, just say, oh, today I'm going to be a theatre actor. No. It's not about that. It's a game of inches, isn't it? It's about realizing, first of all, like, I'm not happy. Okay.
Yeah.
What doesn't make you happy? List. What makes you happy? Fine. And then from there, if you surround yourself with people that are entrepreneurial, or if you don't have people like that, then you can certainly take steps. Like, look at, you got YouTube. There are millions of ideas on YouTube as to what to do. And so it's just one of those things that, like, that line, it just made me think, like, my attention span, it's been short. I've let it sort of get dominated by, say, media or celebrities, or, things that don't really matter. And then, hang on a minute, I'm in my mid-30s working jobs that I don't care about. No. Now it's time to let me get that attention span up.
Yeah.
And let me sort my life out. Like, do you know what I mean? And
100%.
Like, with doing what you want as well, eating right, and like exercising and stuff, your mood, your sort of way of being, honestly, and I feel like I'm living proof of that now. Like, I've really tried to sort myself out in the last few months, and you know what I mean? Like, I am living proof of that. And so, if people are listening, just do you. Like,
man.
Western living, there is no quality of life. You got to make it yourself. Yeah. That's what we're trying to do here on the K&D Exchange. And we fully hope to, be along with you guys for your own individual journeys. Like, fuck it. Like, man. Let's make a nice community here of people that can do everything that they want to do.
Literally, not just all being pushed into one particular thing because it's an industry that makes the most money, which is like, because you'll get a lot of people that will do that. Because you might, it's the same with music. You have people who genuinely want to be rappers, want to be MCs, want to be this and that. But because it's so easy to do, or because it's so saturated and people are seeing that that's an option, that they can just make a tune and get big off of it, potentially. All these people do it now. And then you can't even distinguish from who's really passionate about it and who's just doing it to do it, And it happens with work. It happens with a bunch of other stuff. Our culture starts to become homogenized into this one thing where you go through uni doing a course you don't like because it's, well, this will get me a better paying job in the future.
This is me.
Right.
Yeah.
And I almost did that too. I almost didn't do philosophy because everyone at my school was like, are you sure your parents are going to be happy about that? What can you really do with that? And then
I can think, motherfucker.
I can think my way through life, which I sometimes regret. But no, I'm joking. But yeah. When people were like, oh, you're a deep thinker, man. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, I wish I wasn't.
Know what you mean. I know what you mean, because some things can really, some things that some people can like shrug off, like really sit with you, and it's like, I don't know if I'm being sensitive or I'm overthinking. Maybe a bit of both. Maybe I am a bit sensitive about it. Oh, it bugs me.
Yeah, and even that, just kind of that back and forth with yourself. It's like some people just won't even go there. Like it's just a thought. It just goes past. And it's like, oh man, sometimes I wish I could do that. But then sometimes I don't, because you get certain things out of being a deep thinker or a bit of an overthinker. Depends what you classify as an overthinker. But yeah, you're right. Like, but yeah, I remember I was going to do maths at uni just because it was my best A level, I guess. And my dad was like really, really good at maths, and he used to help me out a lot. But then I realized when I went to all the open days, I was like, I do not want to do any of this. I was actually too shook to say it, but my dad got it out of me. He recognized that I wasn't really into it like that. And then, yeah, I switched to philosophy. I just found philosophy in one of the prospectuses, and I was like, oh, this sounds interesting. But back then, I was like scared that my mum and dad would be like, no, I don't think you should do it. I mean, my dad told me not to do RE at GCSE, even though I was really interested in it. He said I should do one of the more important ones, like history or something like that. And I was like, fucking hate history, man. Like,
I have problems with history, like the
yeah, especially
subject
now.
of history. I did then. So my stepdad, he's such a ledge, right?
Right.
He always told me to like go. Like he helped like my mum buy Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yeah, yeah.
Which was like
I remember
20
those,
or
yeah.
30 volumes of just knowledge. And he was like, look at the slave trade. And I remember thinking, like, so I grew up like quite like angry at school that they didn't ever touch on it. And I was like, why not? But anyway, that's just militant black guy rant over. But yeah, sorry, carry on.
Militant, but yeah. No, it's true. Like, it's just, it's funny how now, if I said it to him, I'd be like, Dad, you know, history wasn't necessarily the best subject at school. Now, in hindsight, when we really look at it, in terms of its kind of whitewashing and all that sort of shit. But not even that. This was GCSE level. And you really thought that this was going to affect like my future like that? Just if I did RE? If anything, that would have put me in more stead, like to get to do philosophy at uni. But I didn't know at that time. That was too early for me to know what degree I was going to do. But yeah, I literally just remembered that now. I remember thinking like, wow, like my dad's cool as well. Very like forward thinking, progressive guy. But I think at that time, I can tell in hindsight, he was trying to be, he was trying to play the role of the Indian dad. I think he was really trying because he probably thought, I've been a bit too relaxed and maybe they're going to make some bad decisions. And he kind of went into overprotective parent mode and was like, no, putting my foot down. You shouldn't do this. You know, you should do that. In hindsight, I don't think he believed it, to be fair. Like, I think he just went into parent mode. But anyways, back to this song, Sky Zoo. That guy just kills everything. I can't wait for his new album. Best Guy's Burning. Banger. So good.
Listen. He is top tier. Like, just consistent albums for the last, 5 years or however long? 5, 6 years?
Man. Yeah.
What a rapper. What a dude. What a story. What a storyteller. What a guy.
Yeah. It's just the way he raps, his voice and everything's so concise. Great beat choices. Just great concepts. How he puts the albums together. It's just amazing. Yeah, man. I wanted his verse to be longer, but I think it was perfect. I think it was a perfect length.
Perfect length. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah. Oh, man. Sky Zoo. And he always pairs up with absolute dons in the game.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Mad. Yeah. Honestly. Yeah. But yeah. Next one. In Due Time.
Cool track. Not my favourite. Didn't really write anything else.
I put it's all right. I said it's again sort of I bonks my mic. It also puts into perspective. There's a couple of lines in there like the wisdom of working for other people. You can't call yourself a boss if you're there working for them. And I'm like,
it's true.
Just stop talking to me. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, this is what Talib does. Like every album, like it might not be the best album, but he'll have just these. He'll have moments, and it's just like he's got a direct line into my brain, just saying, "You can do better." You know, it's uplifting stuff, but also Talib Kweli, you can do better. Leave them alone.
Oh man, yeah, no, I second that. Due Time, is that the one that had the woman at the beginning? She was doing
I listened to it today. I can't remember.
Okay. Pick Your Head Up. Cool kind of vibey track.
Yeah. Best song on the album, I think.
Okay. I have a different, actually,
second best song on the album.
Oh, okay. Interesting. But I didn't write much more for that, so it was kind of cool, vibey. I think I've got it in my head now. The fact that I wrote vibey, but I can't really remember it. Chillin' While Black. Oh, sorry, what were you going to say?
Well, no, I was just going to say that it's just the very beginning of Pick Your Head Up. It's very much that 1970s, like blaxploitation kind of vibe, like about it, like those movies.
Okay. Yeah.
You know, I don't know, it just set the tone for that song. And I thought, I wrote that it's the best song on the album so far.
Okay.
But yeah, man, we'll go to the next tune. Chillin' While Black. Wow.
Powerful song. Very prototypical of Kweli. Which is also very matter of fact, which is and it's a weird pairing with the tone of the beat, but it still works.
It really works.
Yeah, it's weird because I'm listening to what he's saying, and then when I actually listen to the beat, I'm like, okay, I wonder if I would have heard this beat and thought, yeah, this is the kind of subject I would write about on this. But it weirdly does work, and I think, you know, we talk about it sometimes, you know, about music if it's a bit too on the nose. So when you hear a song and it's like, this is the sad song, this is the happy song, this is the angry song, that sometimes it actually can dilute the power of the message.
Yeah.
So I can understand how something like this, just a cool beat like that, with that particular tone, but then he talks about that kind of subject, kind of pulls you in a bit more and makes you kind of really focus on the subject as opposed to being like, wow, this song's a downer. Do you know what I mean? Because it's got some minor keys in it and some low, deep bass and kind of plodding drums. You know, it's like really making you feel like you must take this seriously, what I'm saying. You know, I really hate it when music does that. It's like, I'm not a child. I can pick up on what is trying to be conveyed, you know, or sometimes I'm just trying to have fun when I listen to the music. I don't need to be told this is serious. All right, it's time for you to sit down and get sad. You know, here's some pianos. Here's some very, very sad pianos, right? Come on, time to be serious, okay? Shut the fuck up. Sit, get sad, get weird.
Let me move a little closer to the mic and get some bass in my voice so you can really, really feel the emotion I'm trying to convey.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to talk really... Come on, David, let's be serious. I'm going to talk really...
All right, listen.
Okay,
okay.
For all the listeners as well, okay? I don't want anyone laughing, smiling.
No joy.
Thinking happy thoughts.
No joy to be had. This ain't Neverland. You can't fly if you're happy.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. You're not R. Kelly. Anyways, this song... This, but yeah, Chillin' While Black, very powerful song, definitely a standout.
Yeah.
What's next?
Well, I just got to say one thing. Like,
go ahead.
So it's topical. It's horrible. It's about like survival, basic survival. Even if you're relaxing and your skin color looks a certain way, you can't, like, you're not even safe, even when you're relaxing with a toy car, you know? And what I liked about it was it kind of highlighted the fact that civil rights and stuff like that has been protested since forever, yet we're in 2021 and we're nowhere near close to at least addressing it or sorting it out. Everyone knows it's a problem, but no one's really, anyone that can do something, they ain't going to do anything to upset the status quo. So, but
you know,
the thing is, like, it sort of highlights the hopelessness as well, because it's like there's no winning. Like, it's almost like Talib Kweli saying, like, at this point there is no winning against it. So the only thing that we've got left now is just rage and being, and you know what I mean, trying to upset the status quo that way through anger and rage. Because I think he says something like, we have a dream, but I've got my ex on or something like that. So he's sort of saying, I think he's saying that, like, I have a dream, turn the other cheek, like all of that from Martin Luther King was, you know, altruistic and maybe a bit soft, but Malcolm X maybe had it right in the sense of, well, hang on a minute, what happened to black-owned enterprises? What happened to actually black people having
action?
Exactly. Systemic change across the board. What happened to all of that? So I do understand that rage can turn into maybe militancy, and maybe it can get misguided, and people doing stupid things. But maybe that's where like black people have to go from now on. And
that's the thing. I think people will call it. What you mean? What was I going to say? They will call it like militancy, even for the slightest kind of bit of aggression.
So here's one thing though, right? So what happened in England like a couple of weeks ago, like some fans of Man United like stormed the stadium and stopped the game from happening, right? And there were
Why
people
did that happen?
because they were protesting against their billionaire owners, who basically they're like vampires. They're sucking the money and life out of the club, right?
Was this all that Super League stuff or whatever it was called?
This was just this is something to do with the Super League. But so I remember hearing like people on the radio, like prominent, politicians and all that, they all blur into one. They were saying that like there's no way, there's a right way to protest. There's a right way to go about it. And it's like, nah. You want things.
Yeah.
So you want to make a difference, then you got to disrupt some shit. And
100%.
Protesting is not peaceful because it's meant to symbolize the anger of the people, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying you hurt people. What I'm saying is if you've got to delay a couple of thousand people from getting to work, or if you've got to smash up some already insured like equipment and stuff like that, then do it. I'm not saying V for Vendetta, like blow up Parliament. I'm not.
No.
But what I'm saying is that like the right to protest is actually, and especially like in COVID times, it's being, it's slowly being stamped out. Like, there's a right way to protest. No. There's
even like bills being passed for it, right?
Yeah.
Like from Priti Patel or whoever. Like they're doing all that sort of shit.
Don't you mean Darth Patel?
Sorry, Darth Patel. Yeah.
Man, listen, we got some real problems in this country, boy. Like, if anyone's listening from outside of the UK, boy, it is. COVID was the start.
Yeah,
we're in for some bad times out here.
But anyone outside the UK as well, stop it with that whole. Oh, what problems does the UK have? They don't even have guns, bruv. Yeah,
you don't need guns. You just need an idiot in charge of the country. And, well, actually, like something that I've noticed, right, so this is completely like off topic, right? But the role of like Labour is to kind of counteract what the Conservatives are doing. So we've got this guy called Keir Starmer as the Labour opposition leader, right? So the Conservatives are in power. For our American viewers or listeners, those guys are the Republicans. And Labour's the Democrats, basically, right? Yeah, even though we've got Liberal Democrats, but they really don't matter at the moment. And the thing is, like, this Keir Starmer guy is so useless. He just rolls on his back and lets the Prime Minister rub his belly. And he provides no alternative. And he's a car crash. Do you know what's happening in politics, people? And this is, you heard it from the K&D first, right? Keir Starmer is a Tory plant. He's a rich dude, and he's been put in place of Labour to discredit it. So there is only one class in power, and that's the rich. You heard it here first,
man.
So we need to protest.
We do need to protest.
The whole thing needs to change, boy. But anyway, that's a separate thing. Thing.
We need to stand up and use our voices and enact change. And none of this, but nothing's ever changed. We can't do anything. Because as soon as you start thinking that, and as soon as everyone starts thinking that, nothing will happen.
There's a Jurassic 5 album called Power in Numbers. And just the title alone tells you absolutely everything. There are way more of us than there are of them. The weight is actually on our side. So it's all about being strategic. I'm not saying that I'm a person that could ever be strategic. I'm not. But there are ways. I'm sure there are ways. But man, like bringing it back to Chilling While Black, like this is sort of where we are, you know, like we're back in the 60s now because
it feels like that, yeah.
because
in a different sense, like
in a different sense, yeah. I mean, like people don't call you the N-word to your face; they say it behind your back now. But you know,
or you'll have white people that say it when they're in a group with each other. They'll not even say it out loud. They'll imply certain things to each other. They'll joke to each other about things, and sometimes you see that when you're like the guest in their kind of group or whatever, and they see you as one of them, even if you're not white, because you're one of the it's almost cliche to say at this point, you're one of the good ones, right? You knew what was coming. You knew what was coming.
I love that. I didn't mean you, mate. You're all right. I'm just like
the amount of times, I'll hear someone say something, and then they'll look at me and realize that I'm there, and it's like I've been here this whole time. And they'll say something and then suddenly look into my eyes afterwards and be like, oh, I didn't mean it for like you or anything like that. I just meant it for like these people here. And I'm like, bro, come on, man. Let's not.
I have.
Stop with that shit. Stop with that shit. Do you know what I remember the other day? I don't know why. I remember I went to uni in Colchester, and I can't remember why, but I went to go get a Domino's. But I had, because usually they would get delivered to us, but we were too late for that. That place had closed, right? By the time we'd got back from London or something like that. And so I was like, okay, we'll go to, I'll go to Domino's, the other Domino's in Colchester. I'll go pick something up. And I went there, and I think at this time, something had happened in London. A terrorist attack had happened in London. I can't remember. This was in 2000 and I want to say 16 or 15. And I can't remember what had happened.
Was that the London Bridge one?
I don't know. I can't remember.
Maybe that's before.
No, because I remember driving back from London. We had gone to I can't remember if I'm mixing the two events up, but basically we were driving from somewhere, from London. And I remember seeing this whole convoy of like big police cars, not normal police cars, but almost like they look like not even vans. They look like, imagine like Humvees, like SWAT kind of things, like, you know, really like top tier, like the next level 4 stars in GTA kind of police, right? Just just going down, speeding down the road. And I realized when I got back that something had happened, because we were driving at this point. And I think my partner was on her phone and she'd seen it had come up, and we were near that area. So it makes sense then that the police had all were going to that. And so then, you know, we get home, something didn't really work out in food-wise. So I was like, okay, I'll go to the other Domino's and I'll just go pick it up. I get there, walk in, they usually have like a TV screen up there, and they're playing the news and they're talking about what had just happened. And I walk in, and it's just, the place is just full of white guys, right? Just, there's like a group of them, I think they're getting something. One of these dickheads is looking up at the TV, and he does this thing where he turns around and he goes, I think we should just send them all back home, to be honest. As I walk in, and he turns around and he looks me dead in the eye, and I could see the embarrassment fill up on his face as I looked at him like, come on, man. Really? Who's all of them? Is it me included? Because to you probably looks like that. I wasn't there. I was driving back home. I'm here to pick up a pizza. I'm not there now. But yeah,
I'm right in front of you.
I'm right in front of you. I was born here. Send them back where? Send them back to my old house. Okay, I can drive there. It takes an hour. Okay. What's that? How is that going to help you?
So
absolute dickhead. I remember when they killed Bin Laden, and I went into school the next day, again, predominantly white school, and someone who, a friend of mine, this is the worst part, is that they were a friend of mine, probably never say this shit now, or at least I hope they never would, but it would seem so out of character now. But this is when we were about 15, I think, 16. I walk in, and this guy just goes, we should just bomb the whole lot of them.
The thing is, in the defense, while it is a silly thing to say, like 15, 16 years old, you ain't worldly yet. So
I know.
can kind of, do you know what I mean? Like
That's
you
why
just,
I preface that saying they were
yeah,
like, they were 15, 16. They would never say it now, I hope.
yeah,
But
because you think, because basically, like when I was coming up, so it would have been the Iraq War for me, like so 2002, whatever. I could fully see people like buying into the narrative
oh yeah,
portrayed
yeah,
by the news. So for me, I always thought that maybe all like Iraqis are like nutters. Like I didn't know any better.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
until I met like one of my best mates, Hassan, he's Iraqi, and he was like, "No, dude," like he gave me the other side of the picture a few years later. And he was like, "No, dude, like it's not like that there. Like it's been a systemic failure over many, many years, blah, 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 blah." And I was like,
yeah.
holy moly, like he's a victim too. He was running away from bullets and bombs and stuff. Like,
Right, what, really?
listen, his stories are harrowing. And yeah,
What's
like,
that do to someone?
huh?
I said, what's that do to someone?
Like, don't get me wrong, like nobody's perfect, but this dude he's as mad as a box of frogs, and he's lovely with it as well. Like he's genuinely one of the best people I know. So, but yeah, like I mean, bomb all of them. That's just the easy thing to say, and it to sound cool.
It's the easy thing to say, yeah. That's what I mean. It's that very edgy kind of. At the time, I remember thinking. Even then, I remember thinking. This is the thing that when I remembered that is that I remembered the Domino's thing the other day, and then that reminded me of the school thing. And I was thinking, okay, in Domino's, that guy is a fully grown man, older than me at that time,
Sure,
probably maybe late 20s, early 30s. So there are people out there saying this sort of shit. Although, even though he's saying just send them all back home, which in itself is just a stupid thing to say, right? And then
England ain't great, So.
Yeah.
I mean, I come from the Caribbean, and trust me when I say that it is gorgeous, and I genuinely am thinking of going back there.
Okay.
Real talk,
Mm.
Not now, but
Yeah, not right now, but at some
15 years maybe, I might be out of this, Gav, because quality of life, that is the term. Like England isn't that great. Like people need to understand that. There are better ways of living.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Like when people, like I remember when like somebody said that to me at like school or something. Oh, why don't you go home? I was just like, yeah, yeah,
maybe
because Carriacou has better sunsets.
I should.
Yeah, Carriacou has better sunsets, better food, and better people than here in the UK. So give me the money and I'm gone.
Yeah, give me the money and I'll bounce.
Worry about that. Give me enough money for me and my family. Yeah. We are out. But like, that's not to say that like, England is like a cesspit or whatever. I'm just like,
no.
It could be so much better.
It could be, yeah.
With better people in charge and better people making the decisions and not bowing to like corporations and Rupert Murdoch, for example. Listen, I know people have problems with, say, Jeremy Corbyn. I don't know why, but I just find that whenever that guy would speak, I'd be like, you're basically talking firstly as a human being and secondly as a humanitarian. What's wrong with that?
Yeah, I've always found that kind of strange.
I don't understand that. And so when we don't have that, when we encourage like fear mongering and things like that, we're forgetting two basic principles that humans actually need: compassion and love. From there, everything else will be better. Like genuinely, just a little bit of humanity. But anyway,
a little bit of humanity. That's all we need. Why? I don't know why we discourage that. It's just crazy that we discourage that.
We're in the upside down, man. This is Stranger Things. Like we're in the upside down. Like things are getting crazy. But anyway, look, man. Anyway, I'll tell you later.
I was gonna say, I'll tell you later. That picked back up again for me. Something about the vibe of the beat, the way everyone flows over it. I just think it was a solid tune. I like the chorus. I just like the way it is. There's not much more to say. I like the beat. I like the song. It's cool. It's good. Yeah,
good. It's decent.
Yeah, good shit. The last song though, The Fold, I love this song. The whole beat is nice. The whole thing is sick. I think this is my favorite song on the album. And it's a great way to end the album for me. it's funny because this album is bookended by a really great intro, a really great outro. It's just the in between doesn't capture me in the same way, you know?
Yeah, do you know what? Like, I can kind of see like how the conversation's kind of gone. Like, yes, he has dropped gems, but
yeah,
like as an album, is it great? I wouldn't.
I don't see myself coming back and listening to this that much.
Here, and the thing is as well for me, like normally in albums, I will put like a song on, like, I'll put that on a playlist. That goes on my hip hop playlist or hip hop 2 playlist or whatever. Yeah. You got 2 chances to get on there. Not one song, not one.
Yeah, there were no songs on here that I was like, I'm going to add this to this playlist because I want to hear it again. Like, this time, or maybe I've done maybe the heart thing on Spotify just to show, I do like that song, so I just press the heart. Yeah, that just goes into your big liked songs, like automatic playlist or whatever, and then it's just there. It's just kind of like, I like those songs, but that's it. Nothing else, nothing more than that. And which is weird, I really thought, I did have this feeling going in, I wonder if it would be like that. But yeah, it kind of did. I had some hope that maybe it would go a bit beyond that. I thought maybe also with Diamond D, or having like the one producer, not even the one producer, but yeah, because Talib Kweli and High Tech, those albums were really good. The Talib Kweli Most Def album, really good.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe this would be another kind of example of that. It would be more focused musically, and Talib can kind of do his thing. But I think when you compare up to people like Royce, Lupe, Kendrick, all these guys who, also have the social commentary game on lock and are, quote unquote conscious and whatever else, and yet their music as a whole kind of builds up to a better standard. It's like builds up to a higher standard. This kind of doesn't. We know that the benchmark is a bit higher, at least for me. So, yeah, I'm sorry, Kweli. I just, it's not really. It just didn't really hit me like that. So, I think rating-wise, I wanted to give it somewhere between a 5 and a 6 because it's a good album. It's just not great. It's nothing that's pulling me back. I'm kind of leaning towards 5 just because it's okay. It's good. It's okay. I feel like good kind of infers like a 6. I don't know. I'll give it a 5.5. Just meet in the middle. That's what,
I genuinely think that's fair enough.
Yeah.
5.5. I think that's fair enough. Yeah. Yeah.
Give it that. If you're into this kind of thing, if you're a big Talib Kweli fan, you'll probably get something out of this much more than I did, or by the sounds of it that David did. And like you said, David, as well, if you're into this kind of sound or into these kind of beats or this kind of vibe, then there'll be a lot for you to pull out of this. But for me, it just didn't really grab me like that.
Same.
Yeah, my top 5: Sons of Gotham, Olympic, Attention Span, obviously. Mm-hmm. I'll Tell You Later, and The Fold, my favorite song on there.
Cool, man.
So yeah, I think The Fold is probably the only one that got put on a playlist because of that beat just felt so uplifting. It's probably like on the barbecue summertime playlist somewhere. That's it, I think. I don't even know if Attention Span, that might just be in a random hip hop playlist I have. Just if it comes up on shuffle, it comes up. It's cool.
Yeah,
that's
man.
It. Yeah, that's how I feel about Gotham. Talib Kweli, Diamond D.
And we made it. End of that one.
Yeah.
All right. So.
All right.
What you got for me, bro?
What's next? Let's see.
What you got?
All right. So, I'm not going to give you an album by this artist. I'm going to ask before I forget. How many Kid Cudi albums have you listened to?
3, I think. The first 3.
The first 3?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. That would change something later on. Okay, but this time, you know who Travis Scott is, right?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah? Have you heard any of his albums?
Do you know what? Always heard the name. I don't think I've heard one song from this dude.
Okay, perfect. I'm going to give you I was kind of torn between two different albums, but I think I will give you an album called Rodeo by Travis Scott. It's the one I'm more familiar with. Just because, also the fact that you said that you've heard of him, but you haven't really heard any of his songs, I think it'll be interesting to kind of hear your perspective on this guy's music. It is hip hop, but it's mainstream, but it's weird in a sense. I don't know how to describe it.
All right, cool. Yeah, man, give me the weirdness. Yeah, cool. I'm up for that.
Yeah, sick.
Oh, this has
Perfecto. I can't wait.
Yeah, neither can I, man. Like, this has been a lot of fun, man. Oh,
yeah,
right.
It's good to be back.
It is good to be back. Are we stereo talking on Thursday?
We can do. We'll see how it goes.
We'll see how it goes. All right.
Yeah, we'll keep those to see as see how we go, kind of thing.
Yeah. So I've been watching a lot of old school wrestling and like Macho Man Randy Savage. It's just obviously cocaine is a hell of a drug, but it's just he's so funny. Like genuinely one of the funniest people ever. Everything's so over the top. Yeah.
I could imagine. Yeah, I was never into wrestling like that, but yeah.
Oh mate, well, to be honest,
I've seen like clips and stuff. I know about certain people.
It's so cliche to say, but like when I was younger, I think that was the best that it would ever be. Like, I know everybody can say that, but like genuinely, like it was stellar. It was so much fun. And like we'd go to Hitchin to see my uncle and auntie. And my auntie was so into it. We would watch it like every Friday, like WCW. So I've got so many good memories of like Friday nights spent up there with them, just watching madness. So yeah, boy. Anyway, cool.
Oh, you used to go to Hitchin.
Yeah, man, I know that place quite well.
Oh, is it? Yeah. There's a Sikh temple there that my granddad founded along with someone else, a few other people. Yeah. So we used to go there quite a bit for that reason. And it's close to Luton, so then we would just go to Luton afterwards to where they used to live. So yeah,
that's sick. See what I mean?
All I used to know. Yeah.
So your granddad's out there making moves and stuff. Like
he was out there making moves, part of that community.
That's amazing.
And Luton as well. But yeah, that's weird. I hardly ever hear anyone talk about Hitchin like that.
Oh mate, well. Do you know what? That's why I love the song Country Cousins by Talib Kweli and UGK. So it's basically like a throwaway thing, right? My cousins up there used to say, oh, we're the country boys. And because like me, like my siblings and a couple of my cousins used to live down here used to live in West London.
Yeah.
We were the city boys or townies. We used to play football matches, and we used to be like the city boys versus the country boys. So that's why I love. Like every time I hear like Country Cousins, I'm like, yeah,
it takes you to that kind of space,
takes me back. So yeah, man. Right. So outro time. Thank you very much, everybody, for listening. This has been really, really fun to do. I look forward to doing next week's episode. It's going to be amazing. Blessings to all of you. I hope you're well in these crazy times. We are all we have. We'll be hitting the socials and all of that as usual. So yeah, if you want to chat, just tweet us, Instagram, whatever. We're there. Much love.
Thanks.
And
peace.
You actually got that one.